welcome to this week's episode of Stream Squad. We're down half our normal crew today. So I'm Angela. I've got Dan working the camera as usual.
We might be down half our crew today, but you get to see
my
face you get to see my face for once instead of the back of my head. So, yeah, I think we still got a pretty exciting show. Whitney is a little under the weather. Nick's been in and out of meetings and helping Whitney out. So, Whitney, if you're tuning into this, feel better. We're hoping you're doing all right out there. But yeah, I guess Angela, if you want to jump right in, we have some interesting industry news to go over to start out with.
Sure. So our stories for industry news today all have to do with everyone's favorite topic, monetization. So the first update that's come through is YouTube is changing the way their end cards work. Now, one thing YouTube's always had is annotations, where you could put up a small transparent graphic at any point of your video, and those would be clickable, where it can take you to a different video, different website, anything like that, but it only worked on computer. In spring of 2016, YouTube brought about end cards, and Dan's got a photo of that we can show you really quick. And what this did is it made it available on all platforms. So even if you were watching a video on a cell phone or on a tablet or on a game system, you could still click that end card and it'll take you to where you need it to go. Now, as we've mentioned for the past couple of months on this broadcast, and anyone who's followed a lot of YouTube creators over 2017, you guys have probably realized the monetization on YouTube videos has changed. The process has changed, and a lot of creators are having to go to sites like Patreon, where they're funded by their fans so that way they can keep producing content. And end cards were an easy way to get you to a Patreon channel like that. Now, what YouTube's done in the past week is they're changing their protocol on how end cards work. Any videos with end cards will stay intact, but from here on out, you have to have partner status on YouTube in order to use end cards. And to get partner status, you have to have 10,000 total views across your entire channel. YouTube said they were having a lot of abuse where people were making channels, throwing up some random video, and using a bunch of end cards. So that's what brought about this change. It's not going to affect any kind of monetization. Again, pre-existing videos are not going to be changed, but from here on out, you've got to have that partner status by getting at least 10,000 views in total in order to put end cards on any future videos. The next thing, which also goes into monetization, is YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki, I actually had to look that before the broadcast, has launched her own channel. Now,
Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yes.
I've never known, so I'm glad you did the research there.
I stared at it for a while, and I was wondering, how do you say this? Some pronunciations I can get, some I can't, so I looked up on a few videos, and then I actually wrote it out in my notes the way it's pronounced so that I can't forget it ever again.
Nice, I like it.
But she previously had this YouTube channel. It looks like it went up around 2013. She's since gutted it, taken all the videos out, and now there's just one video in. It's titled My First Video, Advice from Creators. The interesting thing is Susan herself isn't really in this video. Instead, she's brought in some big YouTubers like Dan and Phil, the Ebby family, Bethany Moda's in it, even she has The Rock in it, and what they're doing is just describing some tips and best practices similar to what we've done some of our broadcasts on how to get started with your first YouTube video. So they're rehashing things like be authentic, make sure you practice and rehearse your videos before going live, make sure to speak slowly so people can understand you, be consistent, and of course ignore any kind of hateful comments in your videos. This unfortunately is true for Susan. I looked at the video right before we went live. It's currently got 8,000 likes and about 60,000 dislikes. A lot of the creators who aren't very happy with the monetization aspect right now have been trying to get a hold of her on the video. Since then, Susan has promised she's going to make more videos explaining YouTube's creative process, their monetization process, and just fun videos in general. So it sounds like she is hearing the complaints of content creators, and hopefully her channel is going to help to get things back on track for a lot of creators. The last thing we want to talk to you guys about with industry news is about Nintendo's creator program. Now, this is something exclusive to Nintendo. Sony and Microsoft have not done this for their platforms, but the Nintendo Creators Program allows content creators to partner with them, and they're able to reap ad revenue from the ads playing on their YouTube videos. You can either connect the Creators Program to one individual video on your channel and you get 60% of the revenue, or you can connect your entire channel to the Creators Program and you receive 70% of the entire revenue. Now, what they've done is they've just announced that they are no longer accepting live video to be monetized. So there's no more streaming Nintendo videos on your channel whatsoever. If you have the Creators Program tied to the channel, if you do it video by video, it just has to be an upload. They will not allow live streaming. Now, people have reached out to Nintendo to ask why they're doing this. As of now, Nintendo has no comment on what's causing this change. Again, since Sony and Microsoft haven't done it, there's no competition to kind of regulate anything. So we'll definitely let you guys know when we know more about this story. But as for now, if you're a YouTuber who's in the Creators Program, make sure you do not do any live broadcasts of Nintendo games on your channel, or that could risk termination from the program or possible strikes on your channel.
Which is, yeah, pretty crazy if you think about it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're going to change their policies. I think it was a few years ago, one of the big tournaments for these video games was doing a Super Smash Brothers. The Melee, I think, is the one it was, and Nintendo was like, hey, you guys can't do it. I don't want you guys streaming our characters or whatever. And there's such a backlash that they ended up letting them do it. So I know this article is only a couple days old. So I don't know. Maybe they'll get enough backlash again and we'll be able to go back to the way things were before.
Yeah.
But for right now, yes, like you were saying, Angela, that's some great advice.
Yeah, pretty interesting. And also people were wondering, what else could come from this. Right now, all the sources I found are only targeting YouTube, and a big part of that's the Creators Program directly ties to your YouTube. As of right now, Let's Players who are streaming on Facebook or Twitch or a similar network aren't seeing any limitations, but a lot of the Let's Players I know are keeping an eye on this as well, just to make sure if anything pops up, then their Facebook page or their Twitch channel won't be at risk of any kind of punishment. But we'll definitely see what comes from this, and hopefully, at least within the next few days, Nintendo will release more of what they're doing and why they're doing it to give us something to go on.
Well, I think that's some pretty good industry news there, right?
Yeah, lots of monetization ins and outs today
right?
going
Yeah,
on.
for sure. So what do we got next? Our strategy piece?
Yeah, we've got strategy coming up, so I'm sure you guys have loved hearing me talk for about 10 minutes, but we're going to flip it to Dan, and he's going to talk a little about audio, especially in pertinence to the iRig Pre and the iRig Pro.
Yeah, we'll start there. Let me switch angles. Here we go. We'll start there, and I've also got kind of going to the user group. We got even more audio stuff, and then our hashtag made with Switcher, even more audio stuff. So it's
audio
a really big
everywhere.
a lot of audio stuff today. But we've got a blog post coming out later this week about the iRig, which is what we use or what we tell most people to use when they're managing audio for their Switcher productions. The iRigs are just great. I've got two here. So actually, how you're hearing audio right now is through an iRig as well, one of these iRig Pres. But these are two of the different models. This is the iRig Pre and the iRig Pro. And just to go over a couple differences, when people ask us what should we use for these, I tell them to answer a few questions for me. And those questions are, is price important? Is having it be mono versus stereo important? And is charging your device important? So the iRig Pre, this little guy here, this guy plugs into your headphone jack. So it's got the little TRS. It'll take an XLR input and change it to the TRS. And that's really good. You can take any you can plug in just a regular mic if you wanted to, or how we're doing it here is I've got a line out from our board, which I'll show you later. Actually, I guess I can bring that up right now. So there's our board, and right up there you can see that's right here is our line that's going from the board into our iRig. So for some of you audio people out there, you might recognize that I'm giving a line level signal to this iRig, which takes a mic level. Well, it's got a really good gain on the side as well, and the iRig Pro has the same thing. So even though you're giving it a line level to something that wants a mic, you can just drop your gain almost all the way down, and it's going to sound great. So yes, price on this one's a lot cheaper. That's the first thing that's exciting about it, or why I recommend this one. It does have the phantom power, so you can give it if you have like a shotgun mic like I'm using here, this needs additional power for it, so you can give it that power. Really good. The only drawback to this is it's a mono signal, so really the only time that's going to be an issue, especially if you're streaming live to Facebook or something, is if you're doing a lot of music or something like that. So that's really the only time that I recommend the iRig Pro, is if you need that stereo input. The big difference with this one is it is more expensive. I think it's a little over $100, and this plugs into the charge cable here, which does give you the stereo audio. It can also take a 1/4 inch input as well. Has the 48 or has the phantom power if you need it. Gain knob on the front. Everything's great with both of them. But like I said, if price is important, iRig Pre. If charging is important, iRig Pre. If stereo audio is important, iRig Pro. Those are the big differences between them. And like I said, these are awesome little devices. This is what I recommend for probably 95% of people doing these kind of things. So that's my quick little overview on that. Angela, I don't know if you have anything to add to what I've had to say about that one.
One thing that, whenever someone asks any kind of support questions, it's normally Dan or I who are taking care of those. And, with audio, again, we're always recommending the iRig Pre. If someone needs stereo, that's we mentioned the Pro. Occasionally, we do have users come in and say, I don't have an iRig adapter, but I've got this other device. Will it work? Kind of our rule of thumb is, our main go-tos are the iRig. There are other devices that do work, but they aren't always tested by us. So in general, if you've got a device already that you want to test out, by all means test it out and then let us know if it works. That way we know that it works and can let other people know. If it doesn't work, you already had it. You can still use it for wherever you're using in the past, and then go ahead and get the iRig Pre. If you're getting started and you're buying audio equipment, go ahead and get the iRig. That way it's something we've tested and know it works. Our users have tested and know it works. If you're buying something from scratch, try not to run off with the other devices. Definitely stick with the iRig, since going into it that you're going to have a great result.
Yeah, I think Focusrite or something is another company.
Focusrite's a popular one we get.
I think that's what a local radio station here is using. Again, we can't test everything out there, but and I'm a big fan of, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And the iRig Pre seems to be a really good setup, especially for going live on Facebook.
Yeah, and for prices, I check them on Amazon every now and then. The iRig Pre normally hits around between $30 to $35. The iRig Pro is usually about $100 to $110. So, definitely for that stereo input, you are going to have that higher price point. And with it plugging into the lightning cable, you don't have that dual charge. So again, for most people out there, the iRig Pre is the way to go. It's the most cost efficient, the easiest to use, but the iRig Pro is available to those who need it.
Excellent. Thank you, Angela. Let me switch this little lower third from strategy to our user group. So again, along the line of audio, I always tell people the hardest parts with doing live video with Switcher, or really anything where you're connecting multiple cameras, is your networking and your audio. So, another question we get a lot, or we were people were asking about is in our user group, which here, before I get too far into this, Angela, you want to go over our user group and tell people a little bit about it if it's their first time tuning in?
Sure. So we've got a user group called Switcher Studio Enthusiasts, which is on Facebook. What it is, it's a group that we started in late February. Currently, we're up to about 850 members, and we have people all different kind of video content creators in there. We have people who are thinking about using Switcher Studio, people on trials, and people who've been using our software for years. They share tips and tricks in there. They can ask questions, other users answer, and they'll share their video in general to get feedback and to show others what's possible with it. There's a few ways to get to the group. If you are logged into your account at switcherstudio.com, there's going to be a link to join the group on your dashboard. You can also go to our Facebook page where you're watching this right now. There's going to be a tab on the side that says groups. Click on that and it'll take you to the group, or you can do just a search in your Facebook bar for Switcher Studio Enthusiasts, and that's the third way to get to it. It's a 2-point process. Click join this group. In the description, there's going to be a link to a short survey that'll take you about 1 to 2 minutes to fill out. It just lets us know more about how you're using Switcher and how we can help. Once we've got both those components in, we'll go ahead and get you entered into the group, usually within about 24 hours of you finalizing both parts, and you can jump in immediately. So it's a highly valuable tool. We have a lot of people, ourselves included, who learn a lot just from watching other user videos. And each week we'll take a kind of a happening that's going on in the group and explain that for everyone watching. And we'll also use a member of the week for our Made with Switcher segment, and we'll show a video that they have shared into the user group.
Very good. Yeah, so there's our user group, or that's kind of a little overview of that. So the question we get a lot in that user group is, what audio mixer should I use? Do I need how many channels? I don't know what I'm looking at here. So I've got a shot set up over here of the mixer we use. Let me get rid of that. And I'm going to try and do some switches here and not lose my audio or anything. So bear with me if we stumble through this a little bit, but I kind of want to go over our mixer that we're using here, let you all know what to look for if you're going to look at getting it into a mixer or getting a mixer like this. So we'll jump right into it. This is really just a basic. It's like $100 mixer. There's nothing too special about it. I've got 2 audio inputs here. I can connect up to 4 XLR. So I've got Angela here. That's her mic that's sitting in front of her. This is the mic that I'm using right here, is input 2. I'm controlling them with these controls down here. I have my master audio, and then of course I have the outputs here. So I'm not sure if you can see where it says stereo out. So this is a 1/4 inch output. A lot of mixers will have something that looks like the XLR here that'll say stereo out or monitor out or something. So those are the things you're going to take your line out and go into your iRig. Some of the even more advanced mixers will have a mic level out, and that's even better for these iRigs because that's what it's supposed to take, like I mentioned earlier. But as I said also earlier, that using the line level is just fine. You just have to drop your gain down on that iRig. Another example here, let's get this guy into frame. So this is really good, and that's a quick overview of basically what your mixers are going to look like. And we do have some knowledge base articles and all that and stuff on our blog about how to set up a mixer and how to use it. This is a really good idea if you're going to be in a studio setup, but one of the big things about Switcher Studio is it's very mobile. And I have here what I've used for a few years and absolutely love. This is a Tascam DR70, and this has 4 XLR inputs. It runs off of batteries, and let's see if you can see that here. And it does have like a little line out there, or I can take the headphones as well, a line out of that. That's just a headphone, the 3.5. So I use a cable that looks something like this. Let's get that into frame, which is just, the 3.5 millimeter to the XLR, and this will go right into my iRig. To give you an idea, that's how we ran all of our videos at the NAB this year. We did a bunch. Everything was run from this, just through this Tascam right here. So a couple things to consider when going through and finding the right mixer for you. Let me switch angles here. Bam. So yeah, a couple things to think about is, are you going to have to be mobile? And if you are, you might want to look at getting something that runs off battery power, or something small that you can fit into a backpack or something easily. Another thing to look at is how many inputs do you need. So we typically don't need more than 4 inputs on ours. So we have the 4 channels on our Yamaha. We have the 4 channels on our little Tascam as well. So that works out really well for us. And honestly, price is always an option as well to look at. And I mean, really, I think you search audio mixer, and like the first thing that shows up is a Behringer, or on Amazon is a Behringer 2-channel and 4-channel mixers, and I've used both those, and both those work just great. So if you have some other questions about audio stuff, you can post them in the comments. I haven't been able to read them as I was doing this, but yeah, definitely, and I'll try and answer those at the end here, or I will, or we'll for sure get in the comments and answer them afterwards. But that's your quick little audio rundown for the day. I hope that's helpful. And I'm going to throw back over to Angela here, who's got a pretty cool user video to talk about.
Yes, so we wanted to go ahead and keep the audio train going, so to speak, for our Made with Switcher segment. As I touched on briefly earlier, we have user share videos with us all the time, and we like to share one of those videos each week on our Stream Squad episodes. This week is someone that I actually noticed was posting onto Instagram frequently. We do have an Instagram account. It's just Switcher Studio. And if you post anything with your Switcher setup or video you've done, feel free to tag us. We'll take a look at those, watch them. A lot of times we'll repost them on our own channel. And today's user is Gabriel Bello, and he is a musician. So all of the audio stuff Dan went over, that's exactly what this kind of a setup would be used for. He frequently will share photos of his set and of his videos on Instagram. That kind of keyed us in to check out his Facebook as well. And we've got an example video that I think might be up on the screen right now.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, this is a set he did a couple of weeks ago. It was a 90s night, so he's playing all kinds of great 90s hits. He has like Return of the Mac up there. What was the other one that got stuck in your head yesterday? I forgot.
TLC Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls.
Had some TLC going on. So if you're a fan of, jazz and slower hip hop, his stuff is amazing. You can check out his Facebook page with Gabriel Bello. Again, he's on Instagram. You can look at Gabriel Bello Music. We've also shared a couple of his posts on our Instagram to make it easy to find as well. But this is just another great example of what can be done with Switcher Studio.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't hear the audio right now because we've got that muted just so we can talk over it. But yeah, definitely check it out. Like, we'll just put on some of his streams just in the background as we're working here, just because we enjoyed the music a whole bunch.
Yeah. And again, anything that you guys wish to share, definitely in the user group, we do ask that you don't spam, don't post like 5 videos in a row. But if there's a video you want to share and just put an anecdote of, hey, I used multi-view effects with this one, check it out. We're happy to see those. Feel free to tag us and use the hashtag MadeWithSwitcher on Instagram or Twitter, and we'll be able to see those as well. We'll give you guys feedback when we see them, and there'll also be a chance for you to appear on one of our future segments of Stream Squad by sharing those videos, or to have your music playing in our office during the workday.
Right. One quick question I saw come through. Someone was asking about what mics we're using here. These are just shotgun mics. I think they're made by Asden. Is this one? I think both of them are by Asden. Just really nice little mics. They're easy to set up and use. And as you can see, the sound quality is really nice too. So yeah, we just got them on a couple table tripods, and that's usually how we do our audio for these things.
Yeah. Pretty easy, but very efficient. And again, very easy to transport. Just more devices that can go straight in a backpack and work really well for your mobile setup.
Well, Angela, I gotta say, I think we're just about out of time here.
Well, I think it went well, and hopefully, Nick and Whitney, if you're watching, you both are doing well, and hopefully, we'll have you guys on for next week's broadcast as well.
Yeah, as Angela mentioned earlier, we have the user group. Go ahead and check that out. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments here, and we'll jump in there later. Or you can email us at support@switcherstudio.com. And of course, if you're just tuning in and you want to check out Switcher Studio, the website, of course, is switcherstudio.com. Pretty easy, right?
Yeah. Easy to remember, and you get that automatic 14-day trial. So no obligation, no commitment from the start. You're able to just download the app and get started. Again, with the user group, you can also see what can be done once you get started with that sign up.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is another episode of Stream Squad, and we will see you next week at the same time and same place.
See you guys.